Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Midday Market Update. If you can hear me, and this is very big, if you can hear me, let me know. I am doing this on my own today. Today, I have to put on my big boy pants, and I'm doing this all by myself. So I hope that you are hearing me, and if you are, type in the room, VV Nation, and let me know where you're tuning in from. Because if I don't see anything, then that means I ain't talking. Excellent. I'm coming across loud and clear. Excellent. Woo. All right. So, Joey, if you're in the background, man, oh man, I'm nervous as heck. I can do a presentation. It's just managing all of the electronics and the technology behind the scenes. And this gives me a better appreciation for what Joey does on a week end and week out basis. And I mess with him a lot. But I've got a whole different appreciation for what he does, and I am thankful that I have someone like Joey to do what he does. So, whew, all right, yes. So we're going to talk about a lot of things, especially why is the market down? The market's down and has been for the last couple of days. People are getting nervous. People are wondering what to do. And I'm going to be the first one to tell you, folks, just slow down. Keep your head off the swivel. Focus in on what you need to do and manage your own portfolios. So there you go. Francisco, I'm going to start off that way. The market's going to do what the market's going to do. So before I even get into my own first commentary, if you're brand new to the channel, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Hit the bell icon so that you'll be alerted to when new live streams or videos come out just like that. So you'll already know, and I can see that the alert hit because I've got a lot of people here now. Now, if you like the commentary, folks, don't forget to hit the like button. And I want everybody, if you can, if you've been here and you support the channel, take a moment right now, share the link, this live stream link right now, share it on your social circles. Let's get as many people in here as possible because let's talk about what's going on in the market. Now, there's two main things that's pushing the market right now. As you look over here on our color guard, 3 solid days of red. If you're using it like a traffic light, what does that mean? That means this is not the right time to be buying stocks now. All right, there it is. That's exactly the first thing I want to say. Maria says the lovely market is rigged. Well, you know, I ain't gonna say that. I'm not a big fan of that. I think that there's a lot of outlying factors, a lot of outlying people that can do things that make markets do what they do, all right? And that's the big money. The big money can do that. But I think that we as investors need to take into consideration what things are moving the market so that we can be on the right side of the market, no matter what anybody else does, all right? No matter what anybody else does. When the market was moving up, last week before all of this kicked in, what did I say? I said there wasn't anything good in the market to push the market higher. Right? There was nothing good in the market. Why? We got a war going on in Ukraine. We've got inflation. We've got the Fed raising interest rates. You look at all of those different things. There's nothing out there that's good to make the market go up. This, to me, feels like the market is more fearful of what's going on with interest rates because the Fed came late to the party, and then they're more fearful on how hawkish the Fed is going to be. Now, that's the other side of the equation. How hawkish is the Fed going to be? The next interest rates hike will be next week. Everybody is anticipating what's going to happen. What you can't do, you can't outguess the market. And the things that you think that should happen probably are not going to happen. So I need you all to just take all of that, well, what I think, and pay attention to what's going on. Our software, our system is saying it's not the right time to buy stocks. Now, are there stocks that are going up that you can make some good money on? Absolutely. But the trend should be your friend, and the trend is moving down. Now, I'm going to talk about a little bit more about them when we get into the markets, because the markets could be looking for a bottom right now, according to the VectorVest software. Now, Zach says, should we hold? What I'm going to say in regards to that is I'm going to tell you to manage your trades. All right? If you've got some profits on some trades, don't be afraid to take half off or take the trade off, especially if the market looks like it does right now. Am I going to tell you to go out and buy new stocks? I'm probably not going to tell you to go out and buy new stocks. But Contras may be on the table. All right, Contras may be on the table. We're going to talk a little bit about that as well. Puts and shorting increases, creates too much selling pressure, ruining the market. Nothing else matters. Aaron, puts and selling short are people who are paying attention to what's going on in the market. And if the market's going down, where are you going to make your money? On the downside or the short side of the market. That's nothing. That's not ruining the market. It's the market dictating what should be going on. Again, I need you guys to take out of your minds what you think the market should be doing and pay attention to what the market is doing to take advantage of what it's doing. Now, Kenneth is right. On the other side of the equation is the interest rates. How hawkish the Fed's going to be on the interest rates is going to be one thing. I think we've bypassed the scenario of having a soft landing. I don't think that we can get to that point, but that's me, and I'm not pointing to doom and gloom. I'm pointing to the reality of coming late to the party. Inflation is running, and the only way the Fed's got a good way to overcome it is by raising interest rates to take some of that money back out of the market. MP says sometimes your best trade is not making a trade. Taking days off is okay. And you know something? Being long is a position, being short is a position, but being in cash is a position as well. I think that that's good information from that perspective. It's okay to sit on the sidelines and wait. So that's my commentary. I think people are, there's another side of that as well. The other side of that is earnings. I think that people, when the market was moving up prior to all of this pullback, the market was banking on companies meeting or exceeding earnings. And overall, companies have. I'm seeing more companies have dire forward guidance. All right, so they're beating their earnings or meeting their earnings, but it's the forward guidance, especially in the climate that we're in right now. It's tough for companies to say, yeah, we're going to do better going into the next quarter, when the Fed is making it a little bit more difficult for them to get money to run businesses. So there's where the forward guidance comes into play. And we don't have an indicator in regards to forward guidance just on the higher or lower probability of a company meeting or exceeding its earnings. Alan says, I'm a day trader. I can flip long or short from a 2-minute time frame. It has nothing to do with manipulating the market. It has to do with the trend and me eating on profit long or short. I am of that mindset, folks. Watch the trend of the market. Stay with the trend of the market. If you're a trader, you can trade throughout the day, both on either the upside or the downside of the market. If you're a longer-term investor, this is where you put some protective measures in play. This is where you buy protective puts. This is where you hedge your portfolio. All right, so my main thinking in what's going on in the market, people are still fearful of how hawkish the Fed's going to be. Commodities are starting to fall. Interest rates, inflation, all of those things. And that's what's going on for the last couple of days in regards to the market. I think people are more fearful of what the Fed's going to have to do rather than looking at companies who are meeting or exceeding their earnings. All right. So with all of that, we can clearly see markets down. All of the major indices are down for the day. There was a time prior to the start of this midday market that I saw the NASDAQ was up. That's gone away. And let's start off with some news. All right, so I've given you my 2 cents on what's going on in the market. Now, let's go see what news is moving the market. And let's go here. And here we go. Starting off, this is today's news. U.S. stock futures and oils tumble as China's COVID spread adds to Fed rate hike worries. So China shut down a lot of its country based on the widespread COVID reactivating up there. It hurt their economy as well. And when they shut down Shanghai, a lot of goods were not coming out of Shanghai, going into Shanghai. That affected supply. That affected the supply chain. And all of this is adding to what the Fed is going to have to do or not do. Now, next one, central banks need to put rates into the pain zone. That's kind of gnarly. The pain zone, but the Fed won't do it. fund manager, says overcoming doggedly high inflation will require interest rates to be pushed into the pain zone. Speaking to CNBC, Luke Ellis said he doubted that central banks would have the conviction to move aggressively enough this year. Me and Jim Penner were talking this morning, and Jim was saying something along the effects that inflation is getting better. It's still high, but it's getting better. And should we still be raising interest rates if inflation is starting to fall, even though it's still high? That's something that's yet to be seen, but I'm just putting that out there. So what else is in the news? Oh, of course. How about exclusive? Twitter set to accept Musk's $43 billion offer. Stocks prices moving up today. In my mind, I want this story to be done and over. Go get Twitter if you're going to get it. But interesting in regards to if Twitter is bought by Musk, from what I understand, he's going to take it private. It's not going to be publicly traded anymore. That's what I thought is going to happen. So if you're in Twitter stocks, you might get a payout and then the stock goes away. I believe that is the path that he wants to go. And if he does that, I got another story. Stocks tied to Donald Trump's social media venture falls after Twitter said it would be nearing a deal. Now, my question is to you, and I don't know how to do a poll in here. Joey knows, but I don't. I'm curious, what do you think? Do you think that if Twitter gets taken over by Elon Musk and Elon Musk unbans Donald Trump, does DWAC go away? Type a 1 if you think it does. Type a 2 if you don't. Does the social media platform that Donald Trump was working on, does it go away because Twitter is a lot more accepted, a lot more known if he gets unbanned on Twitter? Does DWAC go away? 1 if you think it does, 2 if you think it doesn't. Now, I see a lot of 2s coming up. Do you think that DWAC has the wherewithal to really compete with Twitter? I'm just curious to know. What if Trump money is in buying Twitter? All right. So, I mean, why would his money be going into buying Twitter if he's already got his own social media platform? I believe the whole idea of going after his own social media platform was to compete with Twitter. So if Twitter will unban him and he can get back onto Twitter, what would still be significant in him going on his own social media network? I'm just curious to know. All right. All I hope, no matter what, I'm a big believer of free speech. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And everybody can say what they want to say. People can be hateful as far as free speech, but I fought for people's rights to have free speech. And I think that we have the ability to like or dislike what we see and follow and unfollow who we want to follow or unfollow. Alan says, no, it doesn't. But remember, the epic squeeze to 170, it was just as tight a knit group as they wanted their freedom to say what they want. That is, if Trump cares about his following. Well, we'll see. All I'm saying is if he gets unbanned on a platform where he was already popular, does he still need to pursue the path of creating a platform where he can help to empower free speech? Trump's got a lot of ego invested in Truth Social in additional to cash. He may continue for that reason. All right, I got you in regards to that. Musk is a libertarian, and with that, he wants government out of stuff. Right? He's looking for less government. That's what a libertarian does. It shouldn't be called DWAC closed. Shouldn't be. I'll stop again. Everybody's got to respect everybody else. Everybody's got to respect everybody in this room. All right. I want that to happen. This is a conversation. This is not a battle, all right? That's what I wanted to be known. This is a conversation. And I'm glad that we can come to this platform, because I try to keep politics out of it, that we can come to this platform and at least have a conversation. All right, so let's go to my next story. Coca-Cola, a lot of stocks, a lot of companies reporting this week. Coca-Cola, name recognition. I'm a big fan of Pepsi, but Pepsi will never overtake Coca-Cola because Coca-Cola's got the name recognition, has been around a lot longer. But Coca-Cola is a stalwart stock and a stalwart company that's been around for a long time. Next one, Apple. Now, with Netflix getting smoked up, Facebook reports this week, Apple is the last FANG stock standing. You got Google, you got Netflix, you got Amazon, you got Apple, you got Facebook. That's what makes up the FANG. Patrick has talked a lot about the FANG Plus stocks that have AMD and Tesla. So there's a lot of stocks that meet the criteria of being the most prolific stocks in the tech space. Is Apple the last bastion of the FANG stocks to be of any worth? We'll see how its earnings could move the market. We'll keep our eyes on that. Trump will keep his platform, once burned, twice shy, and Trump can pump out product all day long on the Truth Social. He'll make everyone come to him. We'll see, Roy. We'll see. I still think, what's up, Knees? I still think that Twitter has got the bigger recognition, and I don't know how deep DWAC can push into that. We'll see. We will definitely see. It was just a conversation, a thought of my mind that I wanted to see what VV Nation had to say about it. You know me, I like clean energy. I like the vehicles. Ford's 2022 F-150 Lightning pickup truck sold out ahead of its official launch. It's not even out yet, and it's sold out already. There's still a lot of buzz around electric vehicles, and I am not one of those that thinks that electric vehicles are going to take the place of combustion vehicles overnight. It's not going to happen, and I don't think that it's ever going to happen. I still think that people have an affinity for combustion engines, and I don't think they'll ever go away. But I think that the mindset of more people is saying we want a lesser carbon footprint, are looking more towards electric vehicles, and they are becoming a lot more available by way of price. Now, interesting, Pfizer recalls hypertension drug. Close that. What is that? Hypertension drug Acupril after elevated levels of cancer-causing chemicals are found. And you know that Pfizer do this to save money. What is that? Sigh. I want that to go away. All right. I want, in regards to them being one of the only FDA-approved drugs for the COVID stock, for the COVID vaccines. So just keeping my eyes on that. Facebook, another FANG stock, reports on April 27. What can we expect? We'll see. I'm wondering if they, because of what's going on in Twitter, if they're going to find a negative effect on them. We will see. We will see. All right. And another reason why I think if Elon Musk takes over Twitter, Twitter's got the ability to expound even biglier. Yeah, I said biglier than where it was because of Elon Musk and because of its popularity. I think it's got nothing but clear sailing if it's done right. And that's another reason why I'm thinking, what does DWAC have to gain especially if Trump is unbanned on Twitter? I think he's got more that he can do on Twitter than he can do on DWAC. The last story, U.S. airlines industry flying in gray skies. Airlines are going up in price, but they're making money. U.S. airline industry seems to be on cloud nine as traveling demand takes off in the United States. Major airlines in the country are expecting to return to pre-COVID levels soon, probably in the current quarter. Airline stocks may be stocks to really keep your eyes on. Maria says Facebook may get the same treatment as Netflix. Is there a possibility? I think you're right. That's why I brought up that as a possibility. Will what's going on with Netflix be the same thing? Is Facebook losing people? You know something? There's a difference now. And looking at Netflix and looking at Facebook, Facebook is a social, thing, just like Twitter is. Facebook's been around a little longer. I think it's a little bit more to pull away from that. But if the whole idea of non-centering, and I'm not diving into that whole argument, but if the idea of non-centering is appealing to people and Twitter can accommodate that, that's going to affect Facebook. It's going to affect Facebook. All right, so Facebook wants to be the metaverse over the other metaverses, and it will. I think that platform is well suited to take a major lead in the metaverse. And you know something? Even if they get adversely affected on their earnings, I think that they're already pivoting in that space of the metaverse. I'm right with you there, Miss McClintock. I'm right with there. Alton says Facebook has advertising dollars, Netflix does not. And another thing about Netflix and the downfall of what was pushing Netflix down is the amount of money that they were putting into the content, putting a lot of money into the content. All right. You can't be political. It will kill your business model. Look at Disney. Woo, that's another conversation for another time. I'm going to coin that phrase because it gets me out of conversations that I don't want to have. That's another conversation for another time. All right, let's get into the VectorVest software. Let's go take a look at what's going on there. Let's talk about, before we get into the news, let's go into the news stocks. Let's take a look at what's going on with the stocks. Volatility, wow, look at the bump up on volatility. Normally when the price of the VIX or the volatility in the S&P 500 is above the value of 20, we've got a lot of volatility in the market. We're at 30, and it's up almost 8% today. There's a lot of volatility. There's a lot of fear in the market. The IWM on the lower dollar stocks is down today. Let's go to graphs. There's my market timing graph for today. Big, where's my beginning? Big gap down this morning. Look at that. Big gap down this morning. We still haven't faded the gap. I'm going to put this onto another graph. Let's go to Let's go to the VVC, comma, the DJI, comma, the SPY, comma, and the Qs, QQQ. Let's go look at the major indices. Now that I have them all on to one, let's go put them all on together at the same time. Let's go push all of this over. We're looking at intraday 5-minute bars. Okay, we're looking at intraday 5-minute bars. And here's the composite gap down, the Dow gap down, the Qs gap down, the spiders gap down. But look at the Qs. I'm going to take me off for a second. Look at the Qs. They had a little bit of a resurgence. The only indice today that had a little bit of a resurgence after the high from whatever the morning, and then it came back down. But it's the tech stocks that are trying to make a move today, have headwinds of levels of resistance. There's the Dow gap down. I'm looking at a 20-period exponential moving average. I'm looking at the Dow starting to pick up coming into the afternoon. The spiders moving above the 20-day exponential moving average, the Qs, and the VectorVest composite. So it looks like going into the afternoon, we could have some sense of a rebound. But what I'm looking for is, if we can call this an up day, the levels of resistance that were formed by the opening candles this morning when they all gapped down, let's go see if the market has the wherewithal. And now the Qs created a level of resistance a little later in the morning, and so did the spiders. The spiders did as well. What I'm really looking for is, does the market have the wherewithal to break through these levels of resistance before we can actually say that the market is moving up today? Market's not moving up. The market's still down from the overall opening sessions, except for the Qs. The Qs did take out the levels of the opening sessions this morning, created a new high, and looks like the market, all of the major indices are moving higher right now. So Steve says market's coming up because of earnings. Yes, some companies reported earnings today. And again, I still think that the only light, or the only gray, the only silver lining that we got right now is that overall companies are still beating earnings. This level of missing earnings due to interest rates won't happen until third, fourth quarter this year. All right, won't happen. And then I just did a video recently. Is a recession on the horizon, and I gave some signs of what to look for if we are going into a recession. Now, I was asked last week, I think it was Ms. McClintock said, why do I keep talking about recession? Because traditionally speaking, anytime the Fed has to go through the process of raising interest rates, what tends to happen after that is a recession. So I am just keeping those things in mind for you to help you to understand what's going on so that you could be prepared. I don't want any of you to be blindsided by the market. All right, I don't want any of you to be blindsided by the market. Lee Jam says gold and silver are my worst losers today. Kind of weird. I've watched gold start to move. I'm still not a big fan of gold just quite yet. Remember the direct correlation between markets moving down and gold going up are long gone since the housing crisis back in 2007, 2008. So all I want you to do, folks, is just be aware of what, one of the things I learned as a Marine. Be aware of your surroundings. Well, the same thing should apply when you're trading in the market. Be aware of your surroundings. Be aware of what's going on and what's causing the market to do what it's doing. All right, for the last couple of days of the market moving down, what's making that happen? Fear of how the Fed is going to keep addressing inflation. Prior to that, when the market was moving up, what was going on in the market? Companies were beating earnings. So there still is the battle between the fear in the market with interest rates and companies meeting earnings, and it just seems to figure out which day who's winning, which side is winning. Now, I'm going to show you something else. I'm going to go to our homepage real quick. I want to show you something. As a VectorVest subscriber, we have access to tools that let us know when the market is starting to look for bottom. I'm not going to get deep into these indicators. The MTI, which looks at the underlying trend of the market on a scale between 0 and 2, when it was below the value of 0.60, the market's looking for a bottom. And when the buy-to-sell ratio, which looks at the overall health of the market, is below the value of 0.20, the market's looking for a bottom. Two different indicators that as far as the market has fallen, the market is starting to look for a bottom. So I'm going to take you to another graph. And I don't normally do this, but this is part of being situationally aware. I'm going to put on a 3-month graph of the market timing. And look at where we stopped. See the wick today? Let me take off my camera again. See the wick today was right at that inverse head and shoulders. Interesting, huh? The wick stopped right at that level of 58.43 on our market timing graph, which was where the head of the inverse head and shoulders was formed. Do you think that was by happen chance? The answer to that is heck no. Heck no. 3 days, the market is falling. Big wick at the bottom of this candle, which shows me some buying pressure. Our indicators, the MTI and the buy-to-sell ratio, is saying that the market is starting to look for a bottom. You put all of these 3 things together, I'm thinking that we could be in for a rebound. We could be. But again, I can't guess at that, and I'm not going to stake my life on it. I am just making you guys situationally aware. Does that make sense to everybody in the room? Type of 1 if that makes sense. Type of 2 if you don't believe anything that I just said. All right? That is not a hammer yet. The wick has got to be 2 times the body. That's not a hammer yet. All right? All of what I'm telling you is for the purposes of being situationally aware. So that when everybody's going, oh my gosh, the market is falling, huh? And they look exactly like that. Look at where it just so happened to fall today. Right to that level. Interesting, or being situationally aware. That's what I want you guys to be. All right. So remember, if you like the commentary that you're getting today, don't forget to hit the like button. Number 1, don't forget to share this video. And number 3, if you're not a subscriber to the channel, hit the subscribe button. This is what we do every Monday, folks. All right. I ain't trying to sell you nothing. I'm not trying to pop up nothing. I ain't trying to scare you into nothing. I want you to have the understanding of what's going on in the market and what's making the market move the way that it's moving. Dan says 81% of U.S. adults says they believe a recession is likely in 2022. I personally don't think it's going to happen in 2022. I think that it's going to be a jacked up year next year. That's what I think. I think it's going to be next year. All right. And I hate to prognosticate, but everything's lining up that way. I could totally be wrong. I could totally be wrong. All right. Yeah, I'm thinking 2023 as well, Maria. All right. So I normally don't do that, but I did this for the reason of a lot of talk about the inverse head and shoulders, and the market's falling, but it fell and stopped right at the level of the head that was formed. Right at the level of the head that was formed. All right. So keeping all of that in mind, let's get back into the viewers. And so we see what's going on in the market, how the market looks like it's trying to rebound. We'll take a look, one last look at it at the end. Let's go to the stocks that had the big news that we already talked about. Let this pop up, and let's go see what's going on. There's Pfizer. The only company, when I'm looking at Twitter's moving. And the buyout offer is like $54, almost $55. It's nicely up today, about 3.82. Coca-Cola, I think, is a mainstay company. It's up about 0.5%. And there it is. Remember I was talking about DWAC in regards to Twitter? The numbers are showing it. Now, today is a day. One day doesn't make a trend, but I still think that will have an effect on that. And we'll see what happens with that. But for the majority of the companies that made the news this morning, the majority of them are all going down. Ford, even with selling out of the F-150 Lightning. Apple, it's got earnings coming up. Jets, I think, is a great play for the airlines without having to hone in on one specific stock. Pfizer, bad news in regards to recall of the hypertension drug. Facebook is down, not a lot. I'm very interested to see how earnings works out, but just keeping in mind, Facebook is a sell recommendation in the software as well. All right. And Sonny is right. Markets pay attention to presidential election cycle. This is not a presidential election cycle coming up. This is a midterm election. But I think that the Fed is cognizant of what's getting ready to happen in the midterm elections. And I honestly think that we're beyond a soft landing. And I honestly think that at one point in time before the end of the year, he's going to raise interest rates by 100 basis points, at least once. That's my feeling. That's just my feeling. All right. But if inflation is getting better, even though it's high, if it's getting better, he may not have to do that. All right. He may not have to do that. Do you think it will come back in the fall after the elections? No, Roy. I think that the damage, my personal opinion, the damage was done by being late to the party for inflation. That's what I think. All right. Earnings this week. Wow, let's talk about it. There's a lot of stocks. That are reporting earnings this week. I got 50 of the most popular ones that are in here. If we sort this by relative safety, which companies have the higher probability of meeting or exceeding their earnings, even though Facebook is a sell recommendation, it's got a relative safety of 1.4. Fundamentally, it's sound. Google is amongst the leaders too. Edward Life Sciences. Aflac is up here with a relative safety above 1. All of the companies that have relative safeties above 1 have a high probability of meeting or exceeding their earnings expectations. Towards the bottom of the list, what stocks are at the bottom of the list? Upwork is a stock that's been in the news, has made some money. It's up 3.5% today. Seagate, General Electric, Boeing, all right, General Motors, relative safeties all below 1. Does that mean that they're going to all miss earnings? The answer to that is no. But the probability is that they should. We'll see. All right. We'll see. Metaverse stocks have been hurting. I still think Metaverse is still in its infancy. I think Metaverse has got a long way to go before it becomes a big user or really, really big on in the market. I've got to watch this. I've done videos on them as well. And if you're a VectorVest subscriber, you've got a Metaverse watch list. Where is it? Under special watch list. All right. And you have, where is it? Special watch list. Where is it? I thought it was under special watch list. Maybe it's not. Well, there it is. Metaverse stocks. All right. You do have a watch list in here called Metaverse stocks. So as a subscriber to the VectorVest software, you will have that. If you're not a subscriber to the software, you will not have that. All right. Steve is saying mug is up bigly. There is no mug. Sigh. There's no mug. Not today. Joey's not here, so I can't give away a mug today. Not today. Not today. All right, let's go back to my watch list viewer. Let's go to earnings this week. A lot of companies reporting earnings. This is probably going to be one of the busiest weeks of the quarter for earnings. All right. What else is in here? Fastest sectors. Let's go see where the money is going. Steve. Now, copper. I just did a video on copper. All right. I just did a video on copper. If you haven't already, how many of you support the channel by looking at our other videos that we have out there? Type a 1 in the room. How many of you only come to the live sessions? Type a 2 in the room. How many of you watch a lot of our other video content on the channel? Type a 1 on the room. And if you don't, type a 2. Man, most people in here are typing 1s. Excellent, excellent. Thank you all for subscribing to the channel. If you did type a 2, keep in mind, we've got pertinent videos on the topics that are going on in the current day that you need to pay attention to. Copper was one that I just did. Friday's video was about, is there a recession on the horizon? There's a lot of videos out there, and that's why I want, if you're not a subscriber to the channel, hit the subscribe button. If you're not a subscriber to the channel, please hit the subscribe button. I'm not on Facebook, if that is the messenger you're talking about. Yeah, I got Facebook. People follow me on Facebook. That's fine. But VectorVest has a Facebook channel as well. We do. We've got a channel on all of the socials, Let's go find out where the money is going. Let's go to Delta Searches sectors. Let's see what sectors are on the rise. Let's go see what sectors are on the rise. These are the movers and the shakers, not the sectors that are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These are the sectors on the rise. Look at that. Building is up 11.76% in the last 10 days. A couple of weeks ago, I put you on the paper. How many of you have made some money on some paper stocks after watching Trending Thursday? Type a 1 in the room. How many of you who watched Trending Thursday when we talked about paper being a sector moving, that you've made some money on paper stocks? Type a 1 in the room. Folks, the majority of the people in the room had no idea that paper was a sector that was moving. This is where, why we do what we do. This is why we do what we do. So I'm glad to see a couple of 1s in there. Paper is up 10%. Building is up 11%. Let's go right click. Let's view the stocks in that sector. And I'm going to look at the top 5 stocks in that sector for you. Let's go take a look. Top 5 stocks. Look at that. Builder up 3.7%. Sky up 3.63%. And this is on the day when the market's moving down. How cool is it to have a system like VectorVest still point you in the direction of what's moving and shaking in the market so that you can make money in that? Kimberly-Clark, that was another stocks that we've looked at here on Trending Thursday as well. I know that here, this is midday market, but Trending Thursday, midday market, both of them are live streams, and we talk about a lot of these different stocks. Now, these are the stocks sorted by VST. Let's find out the stocks that are moving up the most today. All right, let's sort by percent price change. We're still going to look at the top 5 stocks. There's 144 stocks. I'm not giving all of you who are not subscribers to the software all the good stuff. All right. If you are a subscriber to the software, you can look at all 144 stocks. Which ones are moving up today the most? Now, the majority of these are going to be news-driven because the majority of these stocks are sell recommendations. But Sky Harbor, it's up 27%. Let's view the stock news. Let's see if I got some news on this stock. Why it's up 27%. Got no news here. Let's go to press release. 28 days ago. There's nothing today. I'd have to do some research to find out why this stock, Sky Harbor, is up 27%. Just here on Yahoo Finance, it's not telling me much, but it's up 27% today. Let's take a look at the top four. 1, 2, 3, 4. If you really wanted to be super aggressive on a day like today, let's go take a look at if these are any stocks that we would want to take advantage of. Remember, the sector is up, is up a lot over the last 2 trading weeks. I do like TGLS. Look at that. Nicely moved up this morning, hitting new highs. LGIH, look at that. LGI Homes, look at that, hitting a new high as we speak. View moving a tad bit sideways off the most recent highs, and Sky Harbor. But I'm liking LGIH and I'm liking TGLS in a sector that's moving, the building sector that's moving. I can determine that by looking at a delta on these sectors, and look at that. So if you really want to be a little bit really more aggressive, LGIH, TGLS are a couple of stocks I would keep my eyes on. All right, let me close out of that. How cool is it to be able to go through any day, whether it's a good day or a bad day? And building is number 29 out of 41 sectors, but it's moved up a lot. Look at that. Let's run the search again. It's moved up 11.76% in the last 2 weeks. And it's up today as a sector. We can concentrate on which sectors are up individually. Look at that software sector, number 37 out of 41, but it's up 1.6%. If anybody is really interested in trying to do this analysis with some help, that's not what I wanted. That's what I wanted. 99 cents gets you a 30-day trial. 99 cents gets you a 30-day trial. Let me say that one more time. 99 cents gets you a 30-day trial to this kind of analysis that I have at my fingertips at any point in time throughout the trading day. At my fingertips. That's cool. All right. Go to www.vectorvest.com/YT for YouTube, folks. That's how you can do this on your own and not have to worry about the talking heads, the Kramers, the anybodies. You ain't even got to listen to me. You got the software. You can do it on your own. All right. All right. What did John say? I like trading long and short. Sometimes it really works well. Back in 2007, let me tell you something. I grew a portfolio from $1,000 to over $80,000 in about 8 to 9 years, and the majority of my money was made playing the market to the downside in 2007, 2008. The majority of my money was made there. And I grew that portfolio to the point where I was able to make sure that things were taken care of at home. There you go. It can be done. It can be done. It can definitely be done. Can I switch from trial for a month? Yep. When you say switch to trial for a month, that's 30 days. That's a trial. You mean, can you move from a subscription now to a trial for a month? Why do you want to do that if you already got the software? If you already got the software, why you need to switch to a trial and then, I don't understand if that's your question. All right, let's go back to the tab. What else am I looking at? Industry ETFs. This is another way for me to find out where money is going. I've got ETFs that cover just about every facet of the market. I've created this watch list. And where's the money? Natural gas. That's where the money's going. Across the board. Natural gas and the consumpting services and the spiders. Everything else is getting beat up. Energy is getting beat up. Gold, oil. I can always see where to not put my money for the day as well. Gold, real estate, utilities, financials. That's not where I want to have my money. Where do I want to have my money? In natural gas. All right. Speculative plays. I always like to bring some plays to the table for you to take a look at. This week, it was tough. So Contras was the way to go. And look at what's going on. All right, I wanted to show you something. Let's look at the top four. As the market goes down, these Contras go up in value, right? Let's view the stock graph. Let's go put these onto my 4-graph thingy. On a day like today, wow, interesting. As the market is turning back around, I don't like this one. This one is poopy. Why? No volume. FAZ was doing well this morning, but as the market wants to try to pull around, Look at it starting to pull down. Here's a China Contra ETF that shot up this morning, leveled out. Here's the direction on bears three times, shot up this morning, pulled back down as well. So even though I'm liking Contras overall because of what's going on in the market, as the market starts to rebound today, and let's go back to graphs, as the market starts to rebound today, now I'm getting close to a hammer because the wick is getting bigger at the bottom of the graph. This could be, not only did the off of the 3 days found a level of support, but we could be creating a hammer, which could be a possible turnaround. That matches up to what's going on with our indicators. The MTI and the buy to sell ratio are pointing out that the market is starting to look for a bottom. How cool is that to have those indicators at your fingertips along with the technical analysis of the hammer? Bill says, Glenn, VectorVest can help me make money when the market is trending up, down, or sideways. How can I make money in a market that has lately been volatile and uncertain trend? Well, then that's a great question because, Bill, when the market is in an uncertain trend, sometimes that's not a bad time to just sit on the sidelines so that the market can really determine which way it wants to go. Does that make sense, Bill? You know, it's okay to be out of the market and let the market come to you instead of chasing the market. Does that make sense to everybody too? Type of 1 in the room if that makes sense to you. Sometimes learn to let the market come to you instead of trying to chase the market. Type of 1 if that makes sense. If you believe that you can do better outside of that, type of 2. And, you know, God love you if you can, for real. But it's okay sometimes to just sit on the sidelines and wait for the market. Right now is a good time. The market looks like it's looking for a bottom. Well, how do we know when a market bottoms? When it stops going down and it starts going up. Has it stopped going down? Possibly. Are we looking for a bottom as far as the VectorVest indicators? Absolutely. Does the candlestick pattern that you see right here represent a hammer, which could be a possible reversal? Absolutely. But if you're not sitting in the market right now, that's okay. That's okay because you still want to wait for the market to come to you. Hasn't it come to you yet? So, Bill, that's a great question. Bill says it does make sense, but it's been like this for quite a while, and I'm impatient. Well, I can't help you on your impatience, man. Now, I can look at this graph. How about market bounced off a bottom? I'm using 3 and 8s here for a quicker way to get in. How about 3-8 crossed here, Bill? Boom, boom, boom. How about 3-8s crossed here? Bam. Would you have made money there? Absolutely. So the 3-8s crossed to the downside. Boom, boom, boom. 3-8s crossed and then very quickly came back down. That would have been a good opportunity to still stay. I had no confirmation there. So, Bill, even from a faster perspective, I can still, even if you are impatient, looking at 3 and 8s on the market could help you a little bit. All right, could help you a little bit. You mean sitting in cash, Raphael? I'm not afraid to tell you sometimes it's okay to sit in cash. Let's wait. Especially if you don't feel that the market is beneficial or conducive to what you're trying to do, it's okay to sit on the side. It's okay to be in cash. And if you don't want to be in cash because you've got good core long-term positions, hedge. Put a hedge on them. You know, sell a protective put on your portfolio. Put covered calls on your long-term holdings. Or, what's the other word I'm looking for? Put a collar around your portfolio. There's a lot of different optionable ways to protect your portfolio, especially if you don't want to get out of good long-term holdings. All right? So what else is in my list today? Those are my speculative plays. Again, I'm going to look at Contras, but I'm going to be very careful with those. Even though they are going up and they have been, I'm going to be very careful with those right now. If the indicators in the market are saying that we're at a point where we're looking for a bottom, if the market starts to rise, these Contras will fade fast. So if you're not already in them, I'd wait. Let's go see if we can get more confirmation of the market moving down. I prepared these for you today based upon what I saw, okay? But given the market's current conditions, especially with the formation of a hammer forming right now and with our MTI and buy to sell ratio at the levels they are right now, I'm going to tell you to be careful. All right, does that make sense to everybody too? Um, we are now in very oversold territory, nearing a good technical. I just showed you that we're at a point where the market could be looking for a bottom, Lee. Absolutely. Glenn, is the 3 and the 8 simple, weighted, or exponential? Those are exponential moving averages. Jay says this stuff really works. Follow the direction daily and you'll make money and protect your assets. I like that, Jay. How many likes do we have? We've got 88 likes. You know me, I always try to push for us to get about 100 likes. If we do, we do. If we don't, we don't. But the only way you can show me that it was worth it for you to spend some time today, that you didn't waste your time today, is to hit the like button. All right, hit the like button. I'd like to see 100 before we leave. All right, speculative plays, new, nope. Today's big movers, let's go see what stocks are moving up the most today. Remember, I showed you by way of looking at the delta. We can always see what sectors are moving. This is just straight up what stocks out of the database are moving up today. Let's take a look at the top 4. Look at these stocks up on a big down day. A couple of them, all of them are really speculative plays as well. Let's go view the stock graph. See if there's anything I like here today. Let's go put these on my quad thingy. See anything I like. Ruby. Ruby is therapeutics. Look at that. I don't like the volume, but look at that move. Coming off a new high today as well. Let me take my camera off again. I like that. Look at that move. Anybody trading this? Anybody heard of this? If you've heard of this, type of 1. If you haven't heard of this stock, type of 2. If you haven't heard of this stock, type of 2. I'm liking this stock today. Good, googly, muggly. You guys have heard of it. Excellent. I'm going to see what the news looks like on this stock. I want to see what's making this stock move. Oh, did I lose it? Nope. I want to see what's making this stock move. A lot of 2s coming up. That's beautiful. You know I love that. You know I love to bring something new to the table, baby. All right, let's go peep this out. 38%. What's the news? 6 months ago, press release. 17 days ago. I don't know what's making this stock move up today. Very interesting. Again, I've got a lot of different medias that I can look at for this. Does anybody know? Does anybody know why the stock is moving up? Woodley says, you are always my favorite VectorVest analyst to listen to. Also, yeah, volatile markets have some great profits and covered calls on long positions and safest plays. I got you. Does anybody know what's going on with this stock? Because I haven't the slightest idea. All I know is that I like the way it looks. I like that stock. Is it a meme stock? No, it's not in on the WSB. It's not in the Wall Street Bets layout. It's not there. I don't know, Paul, but whatever it is, I'm liking it. I really would look into doing your homework to find out what's moving with this stock, but I like the move. I like the move, and I own another petroleum stock, cheap. Look at that, 65 cents. Moving up, but oil is moving down today. Be careful with this one. But Ruby, it's like Ruby. Thank you, Steve says, good news for their cancer drug. Thank you, Steve. Thank you for that, Steve. I couldn't find anything on it, but I'm writing that down. I might want to take that myself. $1.83, $1.83. I'm going to keep my eye on that. All right, now this could just be a news-driven stock. Let me put my camera back on. Is it on? No, it's not. This could just be a news-driven stock, so be careful with that. Do your homework. Keep your eyes on it. I like the move today. Definitely like the move today. But I would put it in a portfolio, put it in a watch list, put it in something to keep your eyes on. Thank you for that, Mark. Wow, Joey's not here. Wow, Joey's not here, and Mark just gave us a $25 super chat. Now, I'm the first one to say that we do not ask for those, but if you ever feel in tune to sell it, there it is. There's the picture came up on there. If you ever feel that you want to send one, I would love for you to do so. It's a great way to support the channel. It doesn't go to us directly. It goes to our channel, and the people who run the channel are, the higher ups do whatever they do. But thank you so much for that, Mark. I appreciate it. You saw the emote come up for anybody who ever gives us a super chat. You get to see me look that way. Thank you so much for that, folks. We don't live off of these, so, it's not like we ask you to send them, but if anybody ever wants to send them, and it doesn't have to be $25, even if it's a $2 super chat or a $5 super chat, if you ever want to send one, by all means, do so. All right. Major issue, keeping your employees. You have to pay them. It's difficult when your good people leave. This is a lagging. Well, that's another thing about the whole jobs market is paying people to work. Paying people to work. And paying people to work now includes keeping up with inflation. That's tough. And if you pay the people to keep up with inflation, that takes money out of your company's pocket, which affects the bottom line, which affects earnings. This whole earnings, inflation, and interest rates, folks, is a circle. It is the circle of life, a weem away. All right? Yes, I said that. It is the circle of life with all of this that's going on in the economy, which affects the market. And there's a difference. The market and the economy are two different things. But with what's going on right now, they sort of kind of intermingle with each other. I don't think that you can get away with that with the abject behavior that happened on the point of the Fed and not going after inflation in a much more timely manner. Sonny says, super chat, I thought that was your lunch money. Normally, if Mark says something along the lines of, hey, that's for you and Joey to go to lunch with, then we let our people know and we will get that money to go to lunch with. So that does happen. That does happen. James says, Glenn, what VV indicators usually give a verification of a severe bear market before the MTI? Nothing does. The only time we know we're in a bear market is as a VectorVest subscriber is on the Friday market timing segments, when we talk to you about whether or not we're in a bull or a bear market. That's when we know we're in a bull or bear market. When I did my video on the recession and I showed that we were currently still in a bull market, someone said, no, I disagree with you. Well, the whole idea of why we're still in a bull market is because companies are still reporting good earnings. The earnings growth forecasted for the S&P 500 is still sitting at 20%. We're still in a bull market. Will we have bear runs in a bull market? Absolutely. But until companies start missing earnings for at least a couple of quarters, then we're going to still be in a bull market. Does that make sense? Who asked me that? James, does that make sense to you? All right, so just keep that in mind. All right, what else do we got going on today? Ain't nothing going on but the rent. You got to have a JOB if you want to be with me. My Wall Street bet stocks. What was that company you were asking? Was it it's not in here. The biggest company that's right now talked about was GME. AMC is in this list as well. I own AMC. I do not own GME, and AMC is kicking my butt again. I timed it. I made some money, and I got greedy, and I kept it because I'm a knucklehead. I know better than that. I've been needing to just time the AMC trade, but no. I had to be a little bit more bada boom, bada bing. So anyway, that's the biggest move. That's the biggest loser in my portfolio right now is AMC. We all know what was going on with Netflix, and we all know what's going on with Twitter. And I guess, look at that, it's almost up 6% today. I'm wondering if we're going to get news today that they're going to that it's going to happen. And someone just says the price of Twitter might go above the bid price. Can we expect it to go around the low 60s? I don't know. I think that if the news comes out about that the deal is done, that they're going to buy it, that's going to be definitely a nice pop up in Twitter. And I think it's going to go above the price, the bid price that he's looking. All right, looks like he's going to go across that. All right. That's all I got today. Let me go to here. Let me find it. Where is it at? That's all I got today. Woo! We had a lot of good conversation. What I want you guys to walk away with today is no matter what the market's doing, have an understanding of why the market is doing what it's doing. If you're not comfortable with the market doing what it's doing, it's okay to pull out and wait. Have a system. Again, 99 cents gets you access to the VectorVest system. www.vectorvest.com/YT. Gets you access to a lot of the analysis that I do right here. A lot of it. You can do it on your own. You watch me here live do it, but you can do it on your own as well. Thanks, Glenn. Great as always. Thank you, guys. Again, hopefully I didn't mess up the stream in any way, shape, form, or fashion. I had to do it all on my own today. I got my Marine Corps, where's it at? My Marine Corps polo on today. There's my Eagle Globe and Anchor. Love this shirt. Love this shirt. But today I love having conversations, and I love when you guys interact. Did we get 100? Look at that. We got 110 likes. You guys are awesome. You guys are awesome. Thank you for that. And again, all that does is just show me that it was worth it to spend a little bit of time with me today and getting a better understanding of what's going on in the market. All right. And I love that you guys talk amongst yourselves as well. Glenn, you're always entertaining and a great source of information. Thank you for that, Sonny. I appreciate that. Glenn, your 2 cents is worth more like 20 cents. Listen, it's still 20 cents. I'm just a guy. I'll tell you that in a heartbeat. I am just a guy. I'm just blessed to be with a company that gives you guys the ability to make better decisions. That's all it's all about. All right. For everyone who did share the link to get people in here, thank you very much for doing that. I'm going to ask you to do that every session we're here, every live session, whether it's me or whether it's Patrick. Let's get as many people to at least take a look at what we're doing here. That's how we're going to grow our channel, because you never know who you're going to bring here, who will subscribe to the channel. Think about it from that perspective. What are your thoughts? I'm not going to look at any stocks today. Kazizi? No, I'm sitting right at that 1 hour. I'm sitting right at that on 1 hour. All right. And Sonny says, I'm so glad we had this time together just to laugh or just to sing a little song. That's all the words I know to the thong, except for it's time to say so long. Adios, arrivederci, ciao, au revoir, sayonara, aloha to all my peeps in Hawaii. Salam, shalom, namaste.